Imagine a place so sacred, so contested, that what happens there could echo around the world. A site where prophecy watchers, historians, faith leaders, and political strategists all look and wonder. Are the pieces finally moving? Is what has been theoretical now inching toward reality? This is the story of the Temple Mount, or as many call it, Haram al-Sharif. A place layered with centuries of history, sacredness, political tension, and religious symbolism. And now a plan, a vision, whispers of construction, debate, risks, and hope. But how close are we really? Stay with me, because in the next several minutes we'll peel back what is known, what is proposed, what is contested, and leave you asking, is prophecy unfolding today? To understand why any plan for Temple Mount feels momentous, we need to revisit the past. For Jews, the Temple Mount is the location of the first and second temples, houses of worship described in the Hebrew Bible, destroyed, rebuilt, and destroyed again. To many, it's the holiest site on earth. For Muslims, it is Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary. It houses the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, both deeply revered in Islamic tradition. Over centuries, empires rose and fell, control shifted, rulers came and went. After 1967, Israel took administrative control of East Jerusalem. Since then, the religious and political status quo at the Temple Mount has been carefully managed. Muslims continue to administer the holy sites. Non-Muslims may visit under certain conditions but are generally not permitted to pray there. And yet, beneath the surface, movements and organizations have prepared for decades. They've recreated sacred vessels, woven priestly garments, trained individuals in ritual practices, studied ancient texts, preserved blueprints. Some call this groundwork for a third temple. When whispers of a plan emerge, they're not starting from scratch. There is a foundation, symbolic, theological, logistical, already laid. So what's new? Why now? Recently, headlines claimed Israel is closer than ever to changing the rules of the Temple Mount. Reports suggest authorities are considering stripping the Waqf, the Jordanian-backed Islamic custodians, of their administrative role. That would be a monumental shift. Archaeological discoveries add fuel, such as a clay seal impression found in debris from the Temple Mount, dating back to the late 7th or early 6th century BC, bearing the name of a temple administrator. Other excavations reveal shrines and relics tied to biblical times. These findings strengthen the sense of historical connection. Politicians have stirred the pot further. Israel's national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has openly called for Jewish prayer at the Temple Mount, even appearing on the site in acts many called provocations. Jordan condemned the move. Regional leaders warned of dangerous escalation. Meanwhile, institutions like the Temple Institute in Jerusalem continue their quiet work, preparing vessels and training priests. To them, readiness is not optional. It is duty. But if so much seems to be converging, what still stands in the way? The barriers are enormous. The Waqf still administers the site under international agreements. The status quo arrangement is fragile but firmly defended. To change it could spark unrest not just in Jerusalem, but across the Muslim world. Practical concerns are equally daunting. The Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque are not empty lots. They are living, sacred places for millions. The notion of altering or replacing them is seen by many as impossible, even sacrilegious. Politically, the risks are immense. A single act of construction could fracture alliances, provoke violence, or trigger war. And within Judaism itself, there is debate. Some religious Jews believe only divine intervention will restore the temple, not human effort. Others argue preparation is a necessary step of faith. For prophecy watchers, every new discovery, every political shift, every symbolic act is scrutinized. Some point to red heifer's bread for ritual purification, priestly garments ready for use, vessels stored and sanctified. Historians caution, symbolic steps don't guarantee physical construction. They may remain symbolic for generations. But others believe prophecy aligns with geopolitics, that peace agreements, treaties, and recognition must precede actual building. So when leaders make statements or artifacts resurface, some see these as markers, even if the timeline is unknown. How could this unfold? One path is gradual change. Administrative shifts, expanded visiting rights, small archaeological steps, symbolic altars placed nearby. Another is political breakthrough, a negotiated agreement perhaps involving external powers. A third possibility is sudden provocation, an act that forces a rapid change, for better or worse. A fourth is symbolic without structural, rituals performed, vessels displayed, altars built outside the mount itself. Each scenario carries challenges, and none guarantee success. So are we actually closer than we think? On one hand, yes, preparations are more visible, political voices louder, archaeological discoveries more frequent. On the other hand, the immovable barriers, custodianship, existing sacred sites, international diplomacy remain intact. The reality is somewhere between. What once seemed unthinkable is now openly debated, but a full construction is not yet in motion. If you want to follow this story, here are the signs to watch. Legal rulings about administrative control. Statements by leaders in Israel, Jordan, and beyond. Visible preparations, altars, vessels, priestly garments moved from storage to public use. Archaeological discoveries that strengthen historical claims. Public mobilization, protests, prayers, symbolic acts. And international reactions, whether condemnation, mediation, or quiet support. The stakes are high. Altering the Temple Mount risks igniting conflict. It challenges interfaith relations. It raises ethical questions about heritage and sacredness. For millions of Muslims, Al-Aqsa and the Dome of the Rock are not negotiable. For millions of Jews, rebuilding the temple is tied to covenant and destiny. And for prophecy watchers, each event feels like another piece of a divine puzzle. The collision of faith, history, politics, and prophecy makes this one of the most sensitive issues on earth. Experts are divided. Religious leaders in temple advocacy groups say everything is converging, that readiness is vital. Historians emphasize caution, reminding us that archaeology is not destiny. Political analysts see growing pressure but predict governments will remain cautious. Muslim scholars warn of provocation and desecration, stressing the need to preserve the status quo. Prophecy watchers remain vigilant, each new event read as a possible sign. So, is construction closer than we think? There are reasons to believe we're nearer than before. Symbolic and preparatory acts are real. Political voices are pushing boundaries. Archaeological findings strengthen narratives. But massive obstacles remain. What seems certain is that momentum is building. Whether it culminates in construction, symbolic gestures, or continued stalemate remains open. The debate itself shows how the ground is shifting. What do you think is the most likely outcome in the next decade? Do you see prophecy unfolding in real time, or symbolic acts mistaken for destiny? How much power do politics and diplomacy have compared to faith? Share your thoughts below. We want to hear from you. And if you value thoughtful explorations like this, subscribe now. Hit the bell so you don't miss future updates. Because this story is far from over and could change overnight. In the coming months, watch carefully. Will courts rule on administrative control? Will leaders attempt symbolic prayers on the Mount? Will more artifacts surface? Will Jordan or the international community intervene? Will activists attempt to place a cornerstone or altar? These moments could mark the difference between continuity and change. In the end, the Temple Mount remains a mirror. For some, it reflects history, faith, and destiny. For others, it reflects tension, risk, and danger. It is at once sacred, political, and prophetic. Whether construction is imminent or distant, one thing is certain: the world is watching. And so should we. Thank you for joining this exploration. Subscribe to stay with us as we follow each development, ask new questions, and uncover the layers of one of the most consequential stories of our time.